And our next story is about Elon Musk's X. A new feature meant to make X more transparent has inadvertently done something far bigger. It has pulled back the curtain on a massive industry of political troll farms, reportedly masquerading as ordinary citizens and inflaming divisions around the world. Now, here's what's happened. Over the weekend, X quietly rolled out a tool that shows the country or region from where an account is based. Sounds simple, right? But within hours, the internet exploded, not because of the feature itself, but because of what it revealed. Posts across X started flagging prominent political accounts, including top pro-Trump commentators with massive followings whose location tags did not read United States, but Nigeria, Bangladesh, Eastern Europe parts, Southeast Asia. A NewsGuard review reportedly found 31 false political claims, amplified by some of these profiles in the last 15 months itself, all reportedly targeted at American voters and all from accounts posing as Americans. Disinformation researchers saying the new feature rollout has exposed something far deeper and darker. It has exposed a global network of paid operators, political mercenaries in a way, and what are essentially influence farms designed to look like real voters but built to try and manipulate the conversation and the discourse. Sure, the network is not new, only the evidence in a way is. During last year's US election, investigators uncovered a cluster of profiles calling themselves Trump-supporting independent women, reportedly using stolen photos of European models. The new X feature now shows many of those accounts were run from Thailand and Myanmar, reportedly. The pattern seems to be clear. They could be manufactured identities or outsourced outrage or political propaganda that is disguised as grassroots opinion in a way and not confined to the right or the left as such. After the feature launched on X, both sides of the political spectrum started pointing at networks of accounts that appear to be coordinating messaging from outside the countries they claim to represent. And this is not just a story about X, it's a story about the digital age of politics, the times we live in, where national elections are influenced by actors who do not even live in those countries. Researchers warning that as social media companies cut moderation staff and shift towards automation and AI-driven enforcement, the influence industry is scaling faster than the platform's ability to police it. For example, 1 million follower account posing as an Ivanka Trump fan page was suspended reportedly after users noticed the location showed Nigeria. And now analysts say that may be only the beginning because many operations are still sophisticated enough to hide their tracks. Experts describe today's social media landscape as a sort of bazaar, a marketplace, not a debate, a marketplace where outrage has financial value, where manufactured chaos earns clicks, where people who appear to be fellow voters may just be paid actors located in another country on a different continent, perhaps. And the warning in the message is quite simple. In 2025, not every loud voice online is a real citizen, perhaps, and not every post is actually representative of the public mood and sentiment there. So don't trust just about everything you see and read online to be true. The space race is no longer playing out only in the skies. It is moving north to the Arctic. As competition between the United States and China intensifies, the world is rushing to build satellite ground stations in some of the most remote places on our planet. From Alaska to northern Canada to Scandinavia, the demand for ground stations is exploding as world powers scramble to secure faster and more frequent communication with spacecraft in polar orbit. Take the tiny settlement of Dead Horse, Alaska, a place with no hospital, no bank, no school. Yet, companies there are building what are called antenna farms. Why? Because of the location. Satellites that basically pass over the North Pole dozens of times a day need somewhere to transmit their data, and this tiny Alaskan settlement has the rare combination of clear skies and fiber optic cables to move that information instantly around the world. The same trend is seen across the high north as well. US President Donald Trump's proposed Golden Dome space-based defense system will also likely include satellites focused on the area, with the US already handing out lucrative defense contracts for work in the north. For example, Northrop Grumman Corp. In 2024, the arms maker announced the activation of Arctic payloads for the US Space Force. It has a deal worth more than $4.1 billion to make 2 polar orbiting satellites by 2031 itself. In fact, in July, Boeing won a $2.8 billion Space Force contract for 2 satellites and an option for 2 more. It's part of a $12 billion program that Space Systems Command has said will include enhanced Arctic capability. And it's not just the US, of course. China has reportedly rapidly expanded its fleet of polar satellites. A Chinese shipping company plans regular summer routes through the Arctic Ocean to Europe, part of a plan for a polar Silk Road. With climate change further opening up the Arctic region to shipping, the Arctic region's strategic importance has also heightened. Experts are warning that any intercontinental ballistic missile launched by China or Russia would fly over the North Pole, making Arctic sensors indispensable. But the space race is not limited to the big players. A part of Sweden has gone from being an obscure place that no one in a way heard about to now hosting 35 antennas, with more on the way. A remote town in Canada is adding new dishes to serve the government as well as commercial customers. Norway's Svalbard has the world's biggest polar station, though a 1920 treaty prevents it from being used for military purposes. But make no mistake, this is now strategic territory. Despite advances in satellite-to-satellite laser links, experts are saying physical dishes in the Arctic will remain vital. They offer the bandwidth, the fiber connectivity, and also the reliability that militaries and commercial satellite operators cannot afford to compromise on. For decades, the Arctic was seen as the world's last frozen frontier, but today it has taken prime importance in the global technology and security race. Myanmar's military government has intensified its crackdown on online scam centers. The crackdown takes place as the multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise continues to operate with impunity along the country's borders, reportedly. Security forces moving through massive compounds, detaining workers, and even demolishing buildings set to house cyber fraud operations. Authorities saying they are responding to months of international pressure after reports that Myanmar had become a global hub for sophisticated online scams, many of them built around romance cons, fake investment schemes, and other frauds that reportedly generate nearly $40 billion a year, according to the United Nations estimation. In fact, the most recent raid started on the 18th of November. This was just outside the border town of Mewadi. In 6 days, security forces detained more than 1,700 foreigners. In the earlier operations, which include a high-profile raid in October, bringing the total number of detained foreign nationals this year itself to more than 12,000. Nearly 10,000 of them have already been deported through Thailand. Now, many of the detained workers are from African nations, reportedly, and other parts of Asia. They were lured into the region by false job offers and then forced to work in scam compounds where they were not allowed to leave. Authorities say they have seized thousands of computers, mobile phones, along with hundreds of satellite devices and other equipment used to drive massive online fraud and illegal gambling networks. Buildings reduced to rubble, electronics crushed under steamrollers, lines of detainees being processed by the security forces. The military government claims its crackdown started in early September, but the critics argue that many of the kingpins behind these operations have shifted elsewhere. The region is a patchwork of militias. It includes armed Karen groups, with complex relationships with the army. The border guard force, which has been accused in the past of protecting scam operators, now claims credit for helping with the raids. Meanwhile, the Karen National Union, which is a key force in the wider resistance to military rule, denies government allegations that it has any role in the scam centers or their real estate deals. For now, Myanmar's military leaders are broadcasting this crackdown to show the world that they are acting against the global criminal trade, but with regional power struggles laced with complicated alliances and years of alleged official complicity. Questions about how far this crackdown will really go and whether the networks behind the billions in fraud can truly be dismantled continue to hang in the air. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.